Hi, the purpose of this video is for somebody who's thinking of investing in a handyman franchise and they want to make sure that they're buying the right one, that they're getting a good value. I mean, you're investing six figures most likely in a handyman franchise, quitting your job. It takes a great leap of faith, and you have every right to be nervous and questioning whether the one that you're looking at is the right one. So we're going to take a look at four of the more popular ones. The first franchise is Klappenberger Son. Second, Handyman Matters. Third, Handyman Connection. And fourth is Mr. Handyman. And instead of me reading numbers to you, which will probably put you to sleep, let me just say that the startup costs are right here in the center column, and the startup costs include everything you're going to need to get your franchise up and running, including the franchise fee. Klappenberger Son is the least expensive, and either Handyman Connection or Mr. Handyman down here are the two most expensive, with Mr. Handyman having the highest minimum amount you're going to pay and Handyman Connection having the highest maximum amount you might pay. The franchise fee territories are between 40,000 to 47 for Klappenberger Son, and the other three down here are all between $55,000 and $60,000. So you can stop and take a look at this, but let's go ahead and move on. A little bit about me. I started my painting handyman business back in 1989. In 2015, after 25 years, I decided to franchise it, and I've sold 6 franchises so far. I know there's a conflict of interest here with me evaluating 3 other franchises. I went to great lengths to not give my opinion much at all in this, but just to take the data from each of the franchises' FDD, the Franchise Disclosure Document of 2020. That's what I went with. That's what the data I'm putting forth. I'm comparing my franchise disclosure document to theirs. So it's apples to apples. All right, let's proceed. We're going to look at 2 things in this video, the territory size and the training. Let's start off with the territory. Okay, let's take a look at the territory size per person. And as you can see in this chart, there's a great disparity between these 3 and the Klappenberger Son. In fact, when you look over here at the numbers, you're going to see that at best case scenario, Klappenberger Son is twice the size of a Handyman Connection, and it may be up to 5 times bigger than a Mr. Handyman. So what does this mean? Does this mean that bigger the territory, the more successful you'll be? No, it doesn't. But it does mean that there's more opportunity, that there's more households, that there's more commercial projects, there's more schools, churches, government opportunities as well. And it just makes it easier to grow a substantial business in a larger territory. So then you might ask, well, why is Klappenberger Son territory so much larger than everybody else? What do they just want to sell a bunch of franchises? Yes, I want to sell a bunch of franchises, but that's not why they're bigger. I want to give my franchisees the same opportunity I had. And when I had my painting company, I was primarily working in Anne Arundel County, in which there was about 350 to 500,000 people. So I thought it would be disingenuous to sell these small territories and say, hey man, go out there and do what I did. Before we leave the territory size, I need to talk about some restrictions that franchises have inside the own territory that the franchisee purchased. And that is exclusivity. With Mr. Handyman, you don't have exclusivity for residential or commercial work. I know this sounds crazy, and I'll just show you right here. That says you will not receive exclusive territory. Now this is taken out of the Mr. Handyman franchise disclosure document. You may face competition from other franchisees, from outlets we own, or from other channels of distribution, or competitive brands that are affiliates, or third parties control, blah, blah, blah. Basically, Mr. Handyman also owns other similar franchises like 5-Star Painting. You guys could be competing with each other. And in commercial work, other Mr. Handyman companies can come in and do work inside your territory as well. Handyman Matters They want you to take a class on commercial work before you start doing commercial work, which is fine. Handyman Connection also does have some limitations, and they don't give you exclusive rights to perform commercial work inside your territory. Klappenberger Son has gives you complete exclusivity in your territory. So I just want to point that out. If you want to go back and read this later, feel free. So why do franchisors have restrictions on what kind of work can be done in your own territory by you? I don't know. But I do know this, that the commercial painting and handyman jobs can be some of the most profitable jobs you get, and not to be able to have access to those, I find limiting, punitive, frustrating. Let me show you some work that Kenny Lee did. Not having the ability to do these commercial jobs would have affected Kenny Lee's bottom line in his first 6 months as a franchisee. These two jobs of repairing and painting a community college and painting this empty building that they're going to turn into a potential hospital for COVID patients would have cost Kenny $60,000 in gross sales and nearly $20,000 in profit. The training. Most people who are looking to buy a franchise in the handyman industry come in with no previous experience. So the training is very important. To know how to estimate, to know how to handle the crews, to know how to solve the problems out in the field that you don't have any experience on. These are very legitimate concerns, and a thorough training program is necessary. I wanted to include the franchisor's training program straight from their FDD so you can see where I was getting the information on the training time. So you can go back if you're interested to see what their training program is for each franchisor. I like to take a look at these training topics. Look through this list carefully and tell me what in here do you not need to really know and be confident in and be the professional, frankly, in an industry that you're a stranger to. So stop the video for a second and then let's hop back on. As you can see, everything is very, very important, and the amount of training, every day of training is so much more valuable. What sticks out to me is that Mr. Handyman only has a week and a half of training. And frankly, that's just not enough. The other one, Handyman Connection, has 4 weeks, 5 weeks by Handyman Matters, and Klappenberger Son has 5.5 to 6 weeks of training, in which 10 to 13 of the days are on the site of where the franchisee's territory is. These on-site training is so much more valuable than a corporate training, and certainly a lot more than a webinar. I don't even need to explain that. When we're on site in your territory and we're training, we're able to look for technicians, workers to do the work. We're able to start finding customers and giving estimates. We're able to do some jobs in progress, and you can see how the Klappenberger Son system works. All right, let's take a look at the leasing. All these franchises require you to lease a place from day one, except for Klappenberger Son. And why do I not require you to lease a space? Because, well, look, I had 25, 30 guys working for me, and I worked it out of my house. I had 6 trucks. Everybody took their truck home, kept tools in the trucks, kept some things in a shed, but I didn't want to spend money on leasing a building. And I wanted to add this up and show you what this adds up to. I had to put in some number in here. I averaged out what the other franchises considered the typical lease amount of money, and it came out to $1,250. Seems a little low to me, but anyhow, $1,250. That's $15,000 a year. And these leases are for 10 years. I'm sorry, the leases aren't. The franchise term is for 10 years. So that ends up being $150,000 that you're spending with these other franchises that you wouldn't be spending with the Klappenberger Son franchise. So I asked myself, why the disparity? Why does Klappenberger Son have superior training and territory? And it forced me to sit on top of a mountain for days on end, and I finally concluded with, I don't know. But we are so confident in our training and the size of our territory that we offer a guarantee. No other franchise in the United States, regardless of what industry they are in, has a franchise guarantee. And our franchise guarantee is substantial, and it's very simple. Follow our marketing system. If you fail to gross $500,000 in your first 20 months, we will reimburse you your franchise fee, which was either $47,000 or $40,000, depending if you took the veteran discount. We are that confident in our system. If you'd like more information on the guarantee, check out the video below. You can go to our website. Also, I highly recommend part 2 of comparing the Handyman franchises. The next one is on the initial startup cost and the ongoing fees. And it is dramatic. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference between one franchise and another franchise. Check it out before you buy a Handyman franchise for sure. It's been a pleasure putting this together. I hope you got some good information from it, and look forward to seeing you on part 2.